I wanted to show you guys that you can use Google Sheets and you can display your data in charts and also pivot tables. So this is just a fake spreadsheet. I downloaded my data from my Etsy store and I applied a formula to the revenue so that the trends are still there, but it's not real revenue numbers. Okay, so I'm just telling you that in advance. But I wanted to show you that you can take any spreadsheet data. So this is all exported from Etsy. And I hid the columns that have sensitive information like my customers' names and addresses and things like that. So this is the data that you can report on basically. So I've got my revenue by year tab, and this is showing each year, and then a bar chart to show the difference in years. And then I've got a revenue by month, and I have this filter up here so I can say like the last 3 months if I just want to look at that, or the last 6 months, 9 months. You can set this up however you want. Some people may want to use quarters. My business doesn't really do anything based on quarters. It's more by the month. So for me, it would be nice to be able to compare November and December throughout the years that I've been on Etsy, let's say. So last year, like I said, these are not real numbers, the revenue, but it's showing the real trends. So last November was higher than any other November since I've been on Etsy. And the same thing with December, you'll see. And I think that's because we went viral on Reddit and all those cherry cordial orders came in. And that's never happened before. So it's really neat to be able to see the trends. Also, there was something interesting. I think it was in March too. So you can compare month by month, the same months within different years, or just, whatever. What's nice about Google Sheets and these pivot tables and the graphs is you can slice your data however you like. In some database systems like Salesforce and Zoho, you have to go in and basically program the system to do this kind of stuff if it doesn't come with it out of the box, and that can get expensive. That's what I do. I'm a Salesforce consultant, and so I build Salesforce programs from the ground up. But this is a way that anyone can take advantage of being able to visualize their data with Google Sheets, and it's very flexible. So let's say that I wanted to take a look at the revenue by state by year, because I sell nationwide, so sometimes that's important to me. So I can filter by any state and see the trend for year by year. And then down here, I've got another pivot table that sorts it in order of revenue from largest to smallest, so I know which state I have the most revenue. And so for this year, it's New York. Like I said, these revenue numbers are not real, but the trends are real. So all time, it was California. And you can see California and then Texas. And it's nice to see this kind of graph too. So I created this pie chart based on this table, this pivot table. And then I created this filter so I could just filter the data. So last year it was Texas, California, Virginia, Florida. 2 years ago, California, Iowa, Texas, Missouri. And then, this year so far, it's New York. So that's that screen. And then this is the revenue by state by month. So here I have where I can filter by a particular state. So let's say Arkansas for the last 6 months or 3 months, which it was just February. Let's see here. California for the last 3 months, or let's say last 12 months. you can see the trends. Or if we want to do just December, you can see from the California orders every year that I've been on Etsy, just for comparing December. December and November are the ones that I usually compare. So down here, I have the same structure where I've got the states in order of revenue from highest to lowest. So if we go for the last 3 months, we can see New York, California, Pennsylvania, Virginia, and so on and so forth. Last 6 months, it was Texas, Virginia, California. Last 12 months, and then if I want to do December, January, and so on. And the revenue by region by year. So I found this map that kind of splits out the regions pretty well. So I'm using this. And what I did was I made a key. So I assigned each state to the region. And that's how the data is being looked at in my spreadsheet here. So I did all of that. Then I put a filter up here if I want to filter by a specific region, like West Coast. Then I can see the sum of the revenue and the trends year after year. If I want to do the South, same thing. Then down here, I've got the sum of revenue by region from greatest to lowest. So all time, the Midwest and South and West Coast, Mid-Atlantic. But in this year now, 2025, Mid-Atlantic is first and South and then Midwest. And then last year, the South, Midwest, Southwest. And 2 years ago, Midwest, South, and West Coast. And then I just have this here so I can make sure that I remember what states are in which regions. Then that was revenue by region by year, then revenue by region by month. Same structure. If I want to look at Mid-Atlantic for the last 3 months or the last 24 months, just to see the trends. If I want to look at South, just so I can see what's going on. And that helps me to figure out where I might want to target marketing efforts. Same thing here, regions in order of revenue from least or from greatest to least. So the last 3 months, we've got Mid-Atlantic, South, Midwest. Let's say last 6 months, South took it. Last 24 months, or just maybe November and December, looking at that. And then this one, I am looking at repeat customers. So I have a key here that has all of my customers in here. And then I have that as a filter. So I can pick one particular person if I want to and see the revenue. Or I can just type in part of their name and it'll pop up. And then you can see the trends year after year for that particular customer. And then you can also get the order of revenue from greatest to least by customer. So all time, this year, last year, last 2 years, however you want to slice and dice it is up to you, because you've got the ability to do that in this program. So if you were going to create a sheet, I'm going to just go to one of the easier ones here, revenue by year, let's say. So all I did was I inserted the pivot table, and then I set it up to take from the raw data sheet, and I just put the year and the revenue, and and then I created this from that. So this is what the chart edit looks like, and it was pretty straightforward. The only thing I had to do with my raw data was I had to add a couple helper fields. So for the year, I wanted it to be formatted this way, and the year plus month, I wanted it to be text so that it would be in order So that's the only thing that I added to this raw data. Where it gets a little bit more complicated is when you're adding the filters. So this filter here, it's down here in the pivot table, and then I just put that filter in. But instead of using the pivot table filters, I just had it reference the value of a particular cell. That way an end user doesn't have to go in and edit these filters all the time. All they have to do is just select from the pick list, and that's a lot easier. So once this is set up for somebody, they don't have to go in and edit any of the pivot tables or the charts. And all they have to do is just pick, and we can edit pick lists and make it easy. This formula, let's see, it may have been, yeah, that's not so bad. I'll show you. I think it's one of these formulas is absolutely horrendous. But I like horrendous formulas. Yeah, look at So I love formulas, I love spreadsheets, I love data. So to make a formula like this that would, display the last 3 months plus this month, and then the last 6 months plus this month, I used this Notepad++, and I put all my formulas in here so I can keep track of them. So I say that this one is for the revenue by month. And so you can see that if I ever need to change anything, I can use the find and replace functionality to change these values. If I want to use the same formula but in a different sheet and it may be in a different location, but I just keep all my formulas in here. That way I can easily reference them and edit them as needed. So anyway, I just wanted to show you guys that you can absolutely do this with any data set. It could just be a spreadsheet that you fill in manually every time you get an order, whatever it is you want to track, however you want to track your data by, and then using Google Sheets, which is free. So you don't have to pay for a Salesforce, which is super expensive, or even Zoho, or figure out how to manipulate those systems, because the more you want to change how the basic functionality works, the more you have to pay for the system to have that functionality. So this is free, and you can edit it however you want. You can display your data however you want, and it's completely customizable. It's got a lot of bells and whistles, a lot of different types of reports and graphs. But yeah, just pivot tables and these charts is all I really use to create all of these views so I can see into my business a lot easier.